welcome back. If you have a moment, if you could hit the subscribe button, that would be cool. And today we're going to follow some of the conversation. And again, I stick with how I found design. Because initially, I was a grower from 1978 to 1997. I never really designed a garden. I grew over 14 million perennials and native plants in 41 years. But in 1997, a group asked me to design a prairie garden. But they said one thing, and we were sitting here at the meeting, but Roy, it has to look good. And I left there going, well, what do they mean by look good? I wasn't really sure what they meant. And then after talking to someone at the resort, I realized that most of them didn't find comfort in prairie with an overabundance of tall grasses. So I simply just kept the grasses short using Sporobolus, Bouteloua, and a little blue stem. And I mixed in patterns of native plants within those groupings. And then I drifted Ratibida pinnata and Parthenium, wild quinine, together with some Liatris. And I held that grouping together with Sporobolus. So I learned from that experience, one, if I keep the scale lower, that was good. And two, if I put the patterns down and knitted everything together with bunch grasses, that was the grout for the planting. So I wanted to discuss this a little further with you, just to really see what you think and see what opportunities I can help create for you, and then actually what opportunities, by me sharing this with you, you can help continue creating for me. And it starts with my two questions. How do your personal experiences influence your creativity? And simply what I mean by that, for personal experiences, my creativity has been heightened by traveling more and meeting more diverse people through my travels. I went to Holland and I went to the Van Gogh Museum. And when I got to the Van Gogh Museum, I started to notice his approach to painting with heavy brushstrokes of colors upon colors. And I again saw that and I thought, what about garden patterns? What kind of patterns can I create with those, similar to those heavy brushstrokes? I just made some notes, and when I got home, I looked at combining certain patterns using salvias and caesalarias and alliums and Coreopsis Zagreb, and using heavier amounts of the salvias with softer amounts of grasses and alliums holding it together. So that's one example. And I'm sure you can find many examples of that for yourself, but sometimes I have to have the question asked before I can think of how I can find all that. In our world, is beauty fixed and rigid, or flowing, dynamic, and restorative? Restoring or restorative? Because I look at how so many ways we find beauty in our culture now. We find beauty in our telephones, we find beauty in the chairs and cups and dishes, we find beauty in our car, and these are things that are created by humans. And sometimes, like even the sweater, I find beauty in the sweater. I love the shade of blue. But if I take the sweater and hang it in my closet, loving it as much as I do, I'm not going to wake up in the morning and find little baby sweaters there. Because the plant is happy or I'm happy, or the sweater's happy, I'm happy with it. But when you find flowing and restorative moments in nature, you can find where plants living happily in a particular place have children, have young beings. It's a restorative way of living. Our phone, once it breaks apart and disappears, will never restore itself to what it was. Our cars will never restore themselves to who they are. So those are some of the questions and discussions that I always have with myself, and I'm trying my best to share with you. So what is our future? It's a big what if, and you see that on the image. What if? Our future, I feel, is plant-driven. And the next image you see is the year 2046. We will be a plant-driven culture in 2046 simply because it's the way we're evolving. We're going to be getting away from the use of wood mulch. We're going to get away from putting plants on spaces so far apart the plants can never be intimate and loved and share love with each other as they did when they lived on Earth in their own social communities. It's all about possibilities and opportunities. And I thought about, what is design? So I looked it up in the dictionary. I thought, well, let me get a dictionary opinion of what a design is, and I can see how I feel about that with what I'm learning from my opportunities of meeting people and from what plants share with me. So in the dictionary, design, the intentional creation of a plan or specification for construction of an object or system for the implementation of an activity or process. And I read that, and you see that image up. Wow. To me, it sounds very constructed, but yet it is the definition of design. I said, well, what's missing from that? So I created my own magic ingredients for garden design and gardening. And again, I'm not saying this is what you have to believe. I'm just sharing with you something I created. And my first component of that is collaboration. And collaboration, that's an action we take, is meeting people with other thoughts, other ideas, and creating a team. I think, and I see that all these projects and things I work on now are all successful because of collaboration, building a team and sharing the project with others and working off of others' ideas and thoughts. So I see the future is all about collaboration. The next is partnership. And partnership basically is, it's your way of being, it's my way of being. It's creating partners, people I can call to ask questions to. The more people I meet who have a different awareness, different knowledge. A good friend of mine, Brent, I contacted him. I was trying to find a certain perennial. I didn't know where to locate it for a project, and because I could call Brent up, he told me, you know what, this nursery in Michigan has it. So it's so many ways to develop partnerships, and the more partnerships we have, the more opportunities to find information and sources out for things that help us improve our way of doing things. And the most important part is workability. And workability, the condition and performance of our actions. And simply that means what we're designing or what we're placing in the ground and putting together, are those plantings capable to be cared for and loved in an easy to manage way? Your plantings should be the expression of your style, and it should also be the cheerfully healthy. And that's a part of what design has showed me and what I've come to know, including two other things. And the other things are I'm developing and more patience with what I do and more understanding of why I need to be patient to see healthy results. And I wanted to share that with you too. Patience to create healthy results for a long future of successful plantings. So thank you for the opportunity again to talk with you. And remember that subscribe button is sitting right there for you. So have fun, and we'll visit next time. Bye.